ComCare Crisis, may I help you?
The hotline at the Community Crisis Center is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The men and women who work as crisis case managers answer about 70,000 calls a year from people in Sedgwick, Butler, and Sumner counties. That's roughly 200 calls a day from people who are struggling with mental health issues or from their concerned family members.
What have you been up to today? Any concerns or anything like that we can help address today?
In between all those incoming calls, the crisis case managers do welfare checks and follow-up calls to people who recently received treatment. The hotline is just one of the services provided at the Community Crisis Center in downtown Wichita. One client, a woman we'll call Ann, says the center's outreach makes a big difference in her life.
When I want to just stay in my house, not leave my house, or for weeks at a time. They call, hey, how you doing? And sometimes I'm okay, but sometimes I'm really struggling, and they can recognize that right away.
Ann is 50 years old and has used crisis services through Sedgwick County's ComCare programs for most of her adult life.
I know that I'm alive today, and as well as I am because of them.
She struggles with physical injuries and mental illness. Ann has bipolar disorder, a brain condition that causes unusual shifts in mood, energy, and activity levels. She also suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, the result of childhood trauma.
So I'm no longer capable of staying at home alone. I need someone who can check on me daily and help me with medications and things.
She plans to move in with her sister. Ann is a regular at the Community Crisis Center. She makes contacts several times a month through the hotline, appointments with a therapist, getting help with medications, and when daily life gets to be too much, she checks into the Crisis Stabilization Unit for a few days of supervised care. Ann says she appreciates all of the services she's been able to access through the years.
Whatever your needs are, whatever's going on that's causing the crisis and the situation and being overwhelmed, they'll do everything they can to get things set up for you so you can stay in the community and be a part of society,
Ann is one of 7,000 people who have gone to the Community Crisis Center for help during its first year of operation. ComCare has provided crisis services for more than 20 years in Sedgwick County, but decided to try a new approach by locating mental health services and substance abuse services in one location. ComCare's executive director, Marilyn Cook, says there were no other facilities in the region offering this kind of coordinated care.
We knew we needed a facility, a one-stop shop where people could come to get the help that they need without going from system to system.
The Community Crisis Center added some services that ComCare was not already providing, such as a sobering and detox unit. Cook says substance abuse and mental health issues often overlap, so it makes sense to help people get sober so they can talk about what they need to do next.
Some of them will engage in a treatment process and go from that sobering bed into what we call a social detox bed and on to other levels of treatment that they might need.
The center also added a 23-hour crisis observation unit to help people work through their immediate situation and spend time with a therapist to decide whether higher levels of care are needed.
It enabled people to have some time to stabilize, to have a place to come where people could talk to them, help connect them to services and resources that they needed, help connect them to medications that they needed, and they didn't have to go to the emergency room where a lot of them were waiting a long period of time.
That's the main point of the Community Crisis Center. It's an alternative to jail or the hospital emergency room and even the state hospital. The director of ComCare's outpatient services, Jason Scheck, says the center gives law enforcement officers another option when they respond to mental or behavioral health calls.
They can get in and out of here in a relatively short amount of time, usually 5 minutes to 15 minutes. So that's a pretty quick turnaround that allows them to get back on the streets and do the public safety work that they are hired to do and want to do.
Before the crisis center opened, officers had to wait in a hospital emergency room until the person was admitted. That could take hours. Director Marilyn Cook says the center has already exceeded expectations for cost savings to the community.
The original study done by WSU indicated that this community would save between $4 and $5 million. The new report indicates a savings of between $17 and $24 million.
ComCare's data shows during its first year, the Community Crisis Center has reduced EMS transports, jail incarceration rates, hospital costs, and state hospital admissions. Outpatient Services Director Jason Scheck.
Well, since this center has been open, we've been able to decrease our state hospitalizations, which is good because it's care that's closer to home, but it's also voluntary care. So that's the big shift that we've seen, is less reliance on involuntary institutional care and more of a shift towards crisis care close to home.
For longtime client Ann, a huge step toward her progress is the day she agreed to come in and talk with a reporter.
This is good. This is a good day. The fact that I'm sitting here speaking with you is huge. You have no idea. I haven't had a conversation like for a long time for anything.
For KMUW News, I'm Deborah Shaar.